I don't know what to say about him, man. I mean, he's just, he's my hero, you know? I mean, the guy's got so much love in his heart, man, and so much wisdom, you know, and so much honesty and truth. You know, if you want the truth, talk to him. If you don't want the truth, go talk to somebody else, you know, because he's going to tell you the truth, and it's going to be uncut. And you know, and I'll be honest with you, you know, sometimes I've had some issues that I didn't come to him with because I knew the answer. I just wasn't ready to hear it, you know. And I know he was going to tell it to me. You know, he's got hardships in his life. I think somebody had brought it to my attention that I had asked him to share a couple times, and one time I asked him to share his house burned down, you know. The other time I asked him to share, which is today, and sad thing happened to him, and that'll be up to him if he wants to discuss it, you know. All I can say is that a lot of guys who know me know I don't use this word a lot, man, you know, but I love you, man, you know. Whew. And shoot, I almost made it, man. I almost made it. I remember I met him, was it 85 or something like that, and through his wife, Walanza, you know. And I was talking to Walanza, and I remember that look Benny gave me, scared the crap out of me, man. You know? I didn't know that was his wife or girlfriend at the time, you know, but he wasn't too happy with me talking to her. But, you know, since that time I got to know Benny, you know, and to know Benny, man, is to love him. There is no middle ground. You know, anybody that knows him, I mean, they just hold him in the highest respect, man. I mean, if you know where he came from to where he's at now, I mean, wow, you know, I mean, it's wow, you know, it's like I'm speechless with the guy, man. He just, you know what, let me get off of here and introduce Benny. And Benny, God bless you, man. It's all yours.
All right.
Good evening. Let me get this right. Wagner. One. It's like I'm making history. Very first banquet speaker for this convention, and I know you're gonna have many, many more.
There we go.
Like I'm blazing a trail here. Last week I was the main speaker for the very first convention in Springfield, Ohio.
Right.
And here a week later, I'm here. All right, but I want to thank this area for choosing me to be this speaker tonight. And like Ray had mentioned earlier, it ain't easy putting a convention together.
No.
You know, coming together, doing what you got to do, and people don't show up on time, and some don't show at all, and don't call, and don't say why they don't show, and personalities, I think it should go that way. No, let's do it this way. No, that ain't traditional, and da. You know, it's hard putting a convention together, so I just believe that everyone that was part of this convention committee deserve an applause for hanging in there and didn't give up. And I feel a lot of love in this room. A lot of you I met coming in your area, visiting Ray. What was it, last year we came, or this year we come and honored your clean time, 28 years. Me and my main man here, Art, is my oldest sponsee, 20 years uninterrupted. Yeah. We travel a lot, right? But when I look at this whole path of recovery, you know, they say for every man, there's a great woman behind him, you know. And I just truly believe if I hadn't met my wife at the time that I met her, I don't know which way it'd turn, because it was really her that pulled me into meetings. When I met her, I wasn't no meeting maker. Being honest with you, I was in treatment trying to dodge going to the penitentiary for the 4th time. Yeah, I seen this nice, attractive young lady at this meeting. I said, this what goes on up in here? Yeah. I flirted with her. And we didn't like each other at first. No, we didn't like each other. She told one brother, she called me a black MF. Yeah. I took an ashtray from her at a meeting and got rude, real loud, embarrassed her. Yeah. So it was kind of a bumpy road in the beginning, but I just truly believe today that if it wasn't for me getting in this relationship with her, that the best in me wouldn't have came out. You know, because you learn how to have a relationship by being in a relationship. All those issues you struggle with in a relationship, they only show up only when you're in a relationship. And when you get out the relationship, they become dormant. Yeah, so just thank God, me meeting my wife, Valanza. You are acknowledged to celebrate 26 years this year, right? Because it's been through the thick and thin, you know. Ray's mentioned that we've been having some things going on. It's just been one thing after another. You know, I was talking with people. I said, I don't know what might come out tonight. I don't know my mood. I don't know what might come. I don't have a focus at this point. You know, last January, my mother passed, who was a very, very close friend, a person my wife used to call. All right, 2 weeks ago, her mother passed, right, who she used to call real close to. She had an aunt pass, right? And we got word this morning that, you know, we got pit bulls. And my son is out of town, they his dogs, and my nephew and grandson, they're taking care of the dogs, and somehow the dogs got into it, and one was ripped up pretty bad. And I had to go in the city to take care of that, to look into that. You know, and we just knew she was at the vet, and they had sold her up, and on our way in, we got the call and say she didn't make it. She died. You know, and out of the dogs, she was the one my wife was closest to. You know, Fendi, that's her name, Fendi. That was her Fendi girl. So the night is not a real certain night, I would say, you know. But I just needed to get that out on the front end to get through what God saved me to do, to come and give a message of Narcotics Anonymous, right? And hopefully just me sharing with you what I'm going through right now personally. You know, not to mention my youngest daughter, she's going through some things, you know, and we just worried about her, right? And so just a lot on our plate right now, you know. And I just don't know what I'd do if something happened to my baby, just my baby daughter. You know, so it's just a lot going on, and this is all within a week's time, you know. But that's what recovery is about. It's being dealt a situation, and God say, now what you gonna do? You know, when there's 4 seconds left in the game, and you're down by 2, don't nobody want to touch the ball. But Michael Jordan said, give it to me. Right? Few seconds in the game, don't nobody want to touch the ball. Sweetness. Walter Payton said, give it to me. See, that's what separates the mediocre from the stars. See? So I look at situations. My wife said it best up in the room before we came down. We're going through, but see, before you can get to the light, you got to come from the dark. Before you can experience joy in your life, you got to experience some pain. See? So there's another side to what we're going through. And I just believe God is strengthening us, preparing us for that next level. I'm talking about a relationship that began with me and her slept on an athletic mat. Couldn't afford a bed or a mattress. An athletic mat with sheets on the window. I think she had 11 months clean, and I had a little over a year. But we was holding on to each other, not knowing where this gonna go. See, she was working at a warehouse, it was theirs. Yeah, Spiegel's. Yeah, Spiegel's. Quit because she broke her fingernail. She's come back and say, these boxes in that warehouse got my fingers, you know, I just got my fingernails did, and quit. Yeah. And felt she was on something because she had just got her GED in treatment. Yeah, the mother of 3 children, right? And here I am working in a warehouse out in Rosemont, Illinois. Yeah, and every day was a challenge because I'm working in an environment where my coworkers was getting high and stealing off the job. And I'm barely coming out of a halfway house on parole and mandated. So this is a high-risk situation. So, you know, the program say recovery is about looking at what's going on right now and working through that become your work. Right? A lot of people struggle with how do you work steps? How do you work a program? It's simple. If you ain't making enough money, then you need to position yourself to make some more money. That's your work. If you don't like your living arrangement, have a vision on how you want to live and thrive for that. That's your work. If you don't like because you're arrogant, right, then make some moves and become less arrogant. That's your work. If you struggle in a relationship because you got strong jealousy issues, right, then you work on that and that become your recovery work. See, my sponsor say, man, you got to keep the race in front of you. See, I base the text in the introduction on page Roman numeral 15. That's the page with the X with the V next to it. It says that how grateful we are for Alcoholics Anonymous for giving us the basis of our program, which is the 12 steps. But however, there's a single exception, that we believe alcohol is too limited of a term for us, that our addiction is all-inclusive. It's not limited to a substance. See? So we believe that, no, heroin, even though I shot a lot of it, it was not my addiction. Cocaine, you may have smoked a lot of it, but that's not your addiction. That's the substance. Marijuana, crack, if you sniff women bicycle 6 to get high, whatever you did, that's the substance, not your addiction. See, and if you read the basic text, and you got to read this along with an experienced member. You can't read this by yourself. See, and an experienced member broke it down to me because when I read the first step, what I read was, we admitted we powerless over heroin and our lives have become unmanageable. Even though it said addiction, the way I interpreted it was, we admit we powerless over drugs in our lives, but no, it says addiction. And when you read the basic text, it talks about our addiction is the compulsive behavior and the obsessive thinking. And I don't know about you, I get high to change how I feel about me. I get high to change my perception of myself. When I'm in a situation I'm struggling, I get high to change my perception or change how I feel. And once I start getting high, once I engage, it's hard to stop. But how do addiction show up in my recovery? See, I've been clean now 27 years. And trust me, my addiction shows up. See, when I jump in school and my inferiority show up in school because I ain't getting it right, a lot of times I'm not getting it because, you know, if you're in school, the real work is after school. The research, the studying, time management. First step saying our lives have become unmanageable, right? The first part of the first step is saying we admit we're powerless over our addiction. Let's stop right there. The addiction is our compulsive behavior. Once I engage in anything to change how I feel about me, for some reason I can't stop. And when I do stop, I'm somehow preoccupied with thoughts about going right back to it. That's called obsession, right? And so when it comes time to school and I feel a little inadequate, I'm going to do something that I like doing and avoid doing what I need to do in school. And for some reason, I can't stop. You might find me going to a lot of meetings and doing a lot of service work and neglecting my schoolwork. Now, life is unmanageable in that area there. So now to work this first step, I got to pinpoint the things about me that's causing the unmanageability in my life. And once I've identified those things, now I've identified the things I need to change to become more manageable. Now I'm working the first step. But see, what I've learned is, as a result of doing some of those things, after being out the penitentiary for a while, haven't been high in a while, right? Life is a little manageable. Then I started realizing, man, this is a direct result of me doing certain things that I'm able to do this. So I found the belief in the work in the first step. The second step says, come to believe in a power greater than ourselves to restore us to sanity. See, but I recognize the belief in, if I go to meetings and sometime I'm feeling down, somebody can say something to change how I feel, that's a power greater than me. Sometime when I got some crazy thoughts, and because I done passed my number out too many times and built some relationships in the fellowship, I might get an unexpected call, and it changed how I'm thinking. I'm talking about the therapeutic value, one addict sharing with another. That's a power greater than me. So I recognize, oh, that's how I've been able to stay out of the penitentiary. That's how I've been able to get this little clean time. So now I done identified a power greater than me in working the first step. Now I start to believe in it. And now I'm working the second step, because when I'm faced with a situation I'm feeling uncomfortable with or incompetent about, I know what I can resort to get me through a power greater than me. I ain't confused about it now. You follow me? And see, as a result of doing those things, I'm getting a little order in my life. Right? I start realizing, man, I'm not built up to do wrong. I'm not built up to treat people wrong. I'm not built up to do that. Because God has put a spirit in me that when I treat a person wrong or when I don't show up and I'm not the man of my word, a warning sign go off. Something like remorse or embarrassment. You know, or I harm myself by not following through. I harm myself by not having integrity. Because when I walk away, I don't like the way I feel. When I say yes and I really mean no, I walk away like an imposter. You don't have to know, but I do. See, so now I got to look at, man, I got to get some order here. I got to manage my emotions better. I got to manage my behavior. And what helped me get through that is I can come and talk about it. When I can share, you know, the therapeutic value one addict sharing with another was without parallel. And I'm working this second step. And I get to realize, man, I need to get it right. So now I'm at a point I got to make some kind of decision. And what decision am I going to make? I got to turn my life over to God. Because God built me up to do right. I'm not made up to lie. I'm not made up to cheat. Right? Because it don't sit right when I do. See, I'm not made up to not be reliable. When people give me the message and say, no, we can't rely on you, that does something to my spirit. When people say, no, I can't depend on you, that causes vexations to my spirit. But who's harming me? I'm harming myself. See, so when I get to that point and I get serious about me, I got to make a decision. And this is the third step. See, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to a care of God as we understand Him. And I learned this from Ray. The word decision comes from the root word side. Side means to kill off. Like a homicide, you kill off somebody. Or suicide, you kill off yourself. So when I decide to recover, I kill off all those addict ways. See, if I'm still practicing those addict ways, then I'm killing off my recovery. See, ain't no Mr. in between. See, so when I'm playing with this here, now I'm in touch with some feelings, unwanted feelings, right? And what message am I giving myself when I walk away? Now I'm sculpturing a poor self-image of myself. You can't see, but I see it myself. See, I'm harming myself. I'm tearing myself down. I'm defeating me. I'm destroying me. I'm creating a spirit in me. See, our Serenity Prayer say, God grant me the serenity to accept the changes I can what did it say? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and change the things I can, the courage. How that go? Show you my mind gone. Show you much as I said that prayer. All right? And see, the Serenity Prayer is a working prayer. The Serenity Prayer is an action prayer. So when I say God, right, that means I got to believe in God. I got to trust in God. I got to have faith in God. Because if I don't believe, trust, and have faith in God, then that prayer ain't going to mean nothing to me. So when I say God, that means I trust in God, I believe in God, I got faith in God, and I understand God. So I say, God, grant me, right? So when I ask anybody to grant me something, that means I'm going to take what you give me and I'm going to do something with it. I say, God, grant me, not loan me, grant me. So when I say, God, grant me the serenity, that means I'm going to take the serenity he gave me and do something with it. But we come into the world with some serenity. It's just sometimes my behavior can cause a vexation to my own spirit, and I take away the serenity God gave me. Because he built me up to hold my head up, to be honest, to step through situations, trusting in him, do it anyway. So when I say, God, grant me the serenity, that means it's some action I must take to maintain that serenity. Or some action I can take to take it away. So when I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, that means I understand God don't need no co-sponsor. It ain't but one thing he can't do, and that's fail. See? I got to be like the guy that's walking down the Grand Canyon, and he glances up and he see a guy with a wheelbarrow proceeding to cross the Grand Canyon on a tightrope with a wheelbarrow. And as the guy was going across the Grand Canyon on this tightrope pushing his wheelbarrow, he stumbled a little bit, and the guy looked up and he got a little nervous because he knew if this guy fall, he gonna die. But the guy made it across. And then the guy proceeded to take the wheelbarrow back across the Grand Canyon on the tightrope, and he made it across. And then by this time, another person walked up and said, hey man, could you believe this guy can push that wheelbarrow across the Grand Canyon pushing the wheelbarrow? He said, there you go. And the guy got to pushing the wheelbarrow across the Grand Canyon on the tightrope. He stumbled a little bit. They both hugged each other because they knew if he fall, he was going to die. But he made it across. Right? And then a third guy came. He said, hey, man, could you believe this guy could push a wheelbarrow across the Grand Canyon on this tightrope? The third guy looked there and said, would you get in that wheelbarrow and let him push you across? They said, shit. But see, that's the difference in faith and believing. I believe it with my own eyes, but I lack the faith to get in the wheelbarrow and let God take me from one issue through another one on the other side. See? So I got to get in the wheelbarrow. See, I got to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can. That means when I'm struggling with a situation, sometimes I might need to say some things to my wife, and I know how she might act, and I don't want that response, and I might cower out and don't say nothing. But I need to say it. Sometimes I don't like to see my son squirm because of some of the decisions I got to make. But I got to say it anyway. Sometimes I don't feel like going to school and doing what I got to do, because school activates all inadequacies in me. But I got to have the courage to do it anyway. Sometimes I don't feel comfortable asking for help, humbling myself. But that's when I got to have the courage to do it anyway. Sometimes the only person that's around is a person I really don't care for. And that's when I got to go to them. Sometimes it might be a person that I don't care for come to me. And if I'm serious about God's will, then I got to be there for them. Having the courage to do the things that the courage, the courage to change things I can. And the wisdom to know the difference. See, so this Serenity Prayer is a working prayer. See? And going through these struggles. See, when I come in recovery, I didn't come in here trying to save my job or save a marriage or because I lost my job or because I'm about to lose a marriage. I ain't come here like that. I got introduced to Narcotics Anonymous through H&I in the Cook County Jail. That's why I got introduced to Narcotics Anonymous in the Cook County Jail through H&I. And I was so corrupted that when them brothers come out sharing how they lost jobs and ran up credit cards and broke up marriages, I'm so corrupt in my mind, I said, these lames. You know, moms get married anyway. Hooks carry wallets. You know, I pick pockets. So I didn't really get the message because I was so corrupted in my values. See? And so when I finally left the county jail, got mandated to treatment, right, and got in treatment. Treatment is a strange place. They want you to tell the truth. Yeah, they want you to hold people accountable. I wasn't used to holding people accountable or confronting people. I grew up with fearships. I didn't have friendships. I had fearships. See, I did things out of fear. You know, I didn't confront you because I had a fear you might respond in a way that make me feel like, man, you don't like me. I can't handle you being mad at me. So I had these fears. How many of y'all ever been in a relationship with somebody you couldn't stand? And some things you need to tell them, but you got this fear, if you say this, they might leave you. I'm talking about these fear ships. See, so I come in recovery with a lot of fear ships, no friendships. All right, but I also came in recovery an outlaw. I broke the law. I lived outside the law. I was 30 years old, never worked in my life, never had a driver's license. I never applied for a Social Security card. I really wasn't a legitimate citizen. Never voted. Yeah. So going through treatment and got a little time in recovery, they said, okay, you need to go out here and find you a job. So they gave me a piece of paper and they said, you need to put a resume together. I had never heard of a resume. I didn't know what that means, right? I had to go ask somebody. Man, I didn't go ask a person what a resume was. I just went and complained. I said, man, anytime I got to put a resume together. And then they explained to me what it was. That was my slick way of getting, tell me what it is, right? And so they say, well, you got to put your name here, right, and all this stuff here. Only thing I could put on that resume was my name, the treatment program address, the down the hall payphone, telephone number. Then the part where it said career objectives, I had to leave that blank because I didn't have a career, didn't know what objectives mean, right? Then the part where it said work experience, I had to leave that blank because I ain't never had a paper route. Yeah. Then the part said educational background. Shoot, father, I went with maybe 2 months in high school as a freshman before they sent me off to IYC St. Charles. That's a juvenile prison. Ain't too far from here in Kane County, right? So putting this resume together, it stirred up some stuff inside of me. And I got these messages. Ain't nobody gonna harm me. See, there's power in your attitude. It brings a spirit. So I'm self-defeating with the messages I'm giving myself. But see, through the grace of God, I was going to meetings. And I met some people. And they saw a change in my spirit. And they confronted me. And they like, man, you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm straight. They said, no, you don't look straight. And I had to get honest with what I was going through. And they made it simple. Just go. Do your thing and the rest will follow. So now I find myself at a bus stop with a white shirt on and a black tie, some black slack with this resume up under my arm, feeling like Ike Nickelback or somebody. Because now I'm dressed like a mob. I'm dressed like the guy I used to victimize. Yeah. I'm feeling real vulnerable. Easy prey. Every nice looking woman walk by, in my mind, she looking at me like I'm a lame. These guys walking by, hair broke down, all this and stuff, they look at me like I'm a hook or something. And I got this shirt and tie on, look like Ike Nickelback. I wanted to take the tie off because the messages I'm giving myself, man, I ain't cut out for this. See? But because I had a support network early on in recovery, going to meetings, they normalized what I was going through and say I went through that too. So I had to make this paradigm shift. See, a paradigm is how you view the world and how you view yourself in the world. And for so many years, I viewed the world, either you was in the game hustling or you was the vet. Pray. And coming in recovery, I started seeing the world a little different of opportunities. Because I had to make this paradigm shift to shed off the outlaw and become a citizen. And see, it's hard being a citizen because citizens obey the law. And I've been breaking the law all my life. See? And so now I got a new view of the world, but I don't see myself functioning in this world. I'm talking about feeling incompetent because people in the world spoke with good diction, worked jobs, had careers, and I didn't have that. See, the box I come from, it was hookers, thieves, gangsters, drug dealers, drug users, school dropouts. See, we spoke slang, right? So to make this transition, this paradigm shift, I was in a world that I wanted to be in, but I was feeling incompetent. So when I come to meetings, you gave me what I need to persevere. See, so I was encouraged. And I remember being clean a minute and messed around and got a job at a adolescent drug unit at a hospital. And in the process, this is like in 1986. So I come in recovery in 84. My clean day is on a leap year. February 29th, 1984. That's my clean day, a leap year, every 4 years, right? And so October 86 rolled around. I moved out of the treatment center. I'm in this apartment, right, with my girlfriend at the time. And I'm working at this adolescent drug unit, right? And October 86 rolled around. I done completed parole and all my court mandates, right? It's like history, because it's the first time I ain't had paper hanging on my head since 1963. Yeah, I was on juvenile supervision. Violated that, ended up on juvenile probation. Violated that, ended up in IYC St. Charles, come out on juvenile parole, right? Violated that, ended up in the county jail, come out on adult probation. Right, and went on, right? So now here it is, October 86, I'm finished with all this paper and having to report to people. And my case manager called me and said, hey, they got a counselor position up in Evanston, Illinois. Won't you go for it? Being black from the west side of Chicago, I've never been to Evanston in my life, but in my mind, Evanston is a rich white suburb. They're gonna lock me up as soon as I get off the L. That's how I'm thinking. So I ain't going. But because I had been cursed with a support network through Narcotics Anonymous, and you know the rumor go around, oh, they done offered him that job. Yeah, I heard about the job. I'm like, man, I ain't going up there. But see, they coached me, go, man. And I went up there and I interviewed and I got hired as a counselor. And so now here I am, a counselor up in Evanston, and I'm the only black counselor. This little short white woman, she had a PhD, right? She was the executive director. This other little short white woman, she had a master's degree. She was the director. Then all these white guys got these bachelor's degrees, and they certified, and all I got is a GED I got when I was in treatment. So I'm feeling so incompetent about myself. And you know, we sitting in staff meeting, discussing cases, and they using some terminology way over my head. You know, they saying things like, well, you know, this client struggled with maladaptive behavior. And this one has impaired social skills. And in my mind, I want to say something like, you know, all that ma got to do is bust that out of this game and he'll be straight. So now I find myself tie-tongue. I can't engage. And I'm leaving work every day feeling inferior. Like I don't belong. And I'm giving myself these messages. Man, you might as well tear this page out your story. You ain't born to be no counselor. And see, what I learned, that relapse just don't happen when you use. See, there's a phase you got to go through. You know, and the first phase of a relapse is the setup. You know, putting yourself in the proximity, the area of using. And that's in a negative state of emotion or poor self-image of yourself, right? And I was in a relapse stage and didn't realize it because I didn't feel good about me. I didn't feel competent. I'm ready to quit, see? And because I was cursed with a support network, members in Narcotics Anonymous noticed my mood and confronted me. And I had to get honest with them on what I was struggling with. And they normalized it for me and said, we felt like that too. We talking about experienced members here that done been down the path that I was going, see? And they gave me suggestions. Get in school, right? Do some research, study. You'll learn the terminologies. And I did that. And I got in school. And then I ended up becoming a certified counselor for the state of Illinois. I became certified, right? And they promoted me, made me a senior counselor, and then a new opportunity came along, and I left there, went to another agency, and that's where me and Ray used to be plotting on clients together. That's where we met, right? Salt and pepper. We was a team. Yeah, and everybody in the agency that relied on us, because we had some background they didn't have, and we could see through them little guys' stuff without Windex. We knew they was playing games, right? Ray would say, Dick, check this out. Dude over here, right? And we come up with a scheme, right? Then if the staff wasn't going the way we wanted to go, look, we gonna come like this here in a staff meeting. You got my back, right? I'm gonna bring this here. So we got real close during that time, right? And I did that for a while, and then a position came open where they opened up a program where all the clients were criminal justice clients, convicted felons, right? And somebody said, why don't you go for it? I'm not qualified. You gotta have a degree. You know, the message. And they encouraged me to go. And I went. And they gave me this position that I wasn't qualified for, per paper. You know, you needed a minimum of bachelor's degree, so many years experience. At the time, all I had was my certification and a GED. But they hired me. They hired me as an entry level. It was a clinical coordinator position, you know, like a director. Right, I had to manage a budget, I had to do monthly reports and all these things here. And so now a new issue showed up, feeling incompetent. Because you do the monthly reports and they get kicked back with all that red writing on it because you got comma clauses, run-on sentences, poor grammar. So now I'm giving myself these messages, man, you ain't qualified to be no director, you better quit. Talking about this relapse state, not liking me, right? But because I was cursed with a support network and they recognized a change in my mood and confronted me. And they said, well, take a reading class, an English class. And I did that, and then I was able to get my associate's degree in mental health and substance abuse. And I started writing a little better. Then I started humbling myself. I started letting my wife edit my stuff before I put it out there. And every time I don't let her edit it, it's always something on a PowerPoint that ain't spelled right. And she be looking like, yeah. And so I went through that, you know, and I started doing some trainings in my field. You know, I started doing some trainings and I got invited in other states. And I remember I was invited to Texas because they didn't have the system we have here to work with criminal justice clients. And I was part of a team to introduce that model we have here to them down there. And they was impressed with me. And they invited me back to their judiciary conference. This is a conference of all the judges in Texas. And they invited me as their keynote speaker. Yeah. to talk about how you transition from prison to treatment into the community, into recovery. So that became my motto, and I started presenting this at conferences, see. And then I visited Israel. I went over to Israel, and I was on a cable program in Israel talking about youth violence. Then I got a call one day in my office from a major drilling from the United States Army. I just saw that movie, Enemy of the State, with Will Smith. Now they're tracking him down. How the Army get me, right? So they talked about this symposium they have every year, and they heard about me. My name came up in a meeting in Washington, D.C. I'd never been in Washington in my life, see? And so they invited me down to San Luis Obispo, California. Never heard of it neither, right? And got down there, and they wanted me to talk about how do you transition from a street gang life into a recovery life, right? And my audience was senators from different states, congressmen, state's attorneys, sheriffs. I was a little intimidated at first because this is law enforcement. But see, I know how to, I know a power greater than me, and I know how to get on the phone and say, hey, this is what I'm faced with. See, I didn't have to be in a meeting. I didn't have to have my sponsors next to me. I know how to get on the phone. I know how to call people. When I built such a recovery network, I can call the different states now and get the support. And they talk about experienced member. Who do I know had probably been faced with such a dilemma that I can call to get me through? And I made those calls. And I went there and I presented, and they was impressed. And they said, well, next year we want you to be part of the steering committee to help put this together. And so I started getting recognized in what I do to speak here. Me and my wife, we toured Africa, West Africa. You know, we visit the slave dungeons in Africa. We visit orphanage homes, and we visit juvenile facilities, and we sat in seminars with social workers that worked inside the prison in Ghana, right? So it's just learning the different cultures and how they address addiction, how they address recidivism. You know, give you a new world view, right? And so I did these things, and then you know, what I do every year, they give out these awards, the Professional of the Year Award in Illinois. These are all the counselors that certified in Illinois. 2000, I received that Counselor of the Year Award, right? And you know what's really cool is I do these trainings, and I see people in the audience that early on wouldn't hire me. Yeah. Now they sitting in my training. Yeah. And they coming up to me afterwards and say, can I have one of your cards? Can you come to my agency and train my staff? I said, yeah, look in your budget and see if you can afford me. Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking about, you know, I'm not up here bragging. I'm talking about the power of God. I'm talking about God reached down on the west side of Chicago. Right? And every time he seen an adversity coming my way or a tragedy coming my way, he put me on a shelf inside the penitentiary. Because a lot of guys died while I was in the penitentiary. I went to the penitentiary when I was 19 years old. I didn't come home until I was 27 years old. In the last 3 years, I was on death row. I was facing 15 counts of murder, 2 attempt murder, mob action. And the most scariest thing with that ordeal was I had a limited education. And I didn't comprehend the dialogue that was going on in the courtroom. So I had to turn a cell in the Cook County Jail into my alma mater. I had to pick up a dictionary. I had to pick up the chapter 38, that's criminal adult law. I had to study. And in doing that, I was able to understand the proceedings. And I got a little faith in that. As God have, I got acquitted. And I came home. See, I'm talking about what God can do. See, no one in their wildest imagination would believe Ben and Lee, one would be clean for over 27 years. and then to go to school, right, and got my bachelor's degree in inner city studies. See? And then I went back to school and I got a master's degree in leadership development and education. And see, in that program, you got to do a lot of research and presentations. I guess they was impressed with me. They called me last year and they said, hey, we got a class we need taught on the history of Chicago street gangs. Would you be willing? So now I'm a professor at Northeastern University. But see, I used to talk about doing that. But I know if I'd applied for the position, they'd have knocked me back. But see, God saw fit to touch somebody in that social justice department and say, he's your man. Bring him in so I didn't have to go through all those things that formerly incarcerated and convicted people got to go through. Have you ever been convicted of a crime? See, part of my recovery is, putting life back together. See, I don't know about you, but I'm a convicted felon. I got limited citizenship. The 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution said that no person of U.S. citizenship should be subject to slavery unless convicted of a felony. So what that means, there's over 100 licenses I cannot apply for because I got a conviction. There's certain jobs I can't work. Limited citizenship. See? And so we're talking about recovery and feeling safe in society, knowing my place. My recovery is fighting for the rights of the formerly incarcerated and convicted people. See? So you got to have something to wake up to in the morning. You got to have a vision. See, visions will force you to set goals. And goals will determine who you should hang with and who you shouldn't hang with. Goals determine what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. See? And because I got a vision now, I know where I'm going. I know how I'm thriving. I know what I got to do. See? But then you got to have something you can believe in that you even willing to die for. I think family is important. A lot of times I want to quit. I want to give up. And being a father, the head of a household, sometimes can be very lonely. Because there ain't too many men you can go to talk about family issues. Because there ain't too many men involved with family. See, I'm talking about sacrificing. Sometimes I want to buy a nice suit for myself. But family come first. And I can be ready to buy that suit and something come up and I got to neglect me for the family. Sometimes issues happen in the family. Somebody might have got jumped on or did wrong or got intimidated, some stuff from the streets, and then the family look at me like, can you do something? I'm trying to get away from that life, and the family want to pull me into it and deal with it. And I have to sometimes look like a punk in front of the family sometimes. A few years ago, my nephew's gang affiliated, got in some situations, some guys come to retaliate it, and they shot up my mother's porch. And my nephew was the oldest child on that porch at 8 years old. He got shot in the head. And they was trying to hold him, on this machine, right? And I'm at this police station trying to calm my older nephews down and the guys in the neighborhood down, because they ready to go out and kill. And I'm wondering, where are the fathers? I got to be uncle, father, and like, hey, let's make some sense out of this. He dead, your brother dead, your nephew dead, y'all hurt, y'all angry. But my sister, his mother's at home in pain. She don't need this right now. Your grandmama, his grandmama, need us to be there, not out here like this. And I'm running into some opposition from my own nephew. Uncle done got soft. And then there's a part of me one like, I'm going to show you how hard I can be. But then that'll hurt my sister. It'll worry my mother. So you got to do a balancing act. I'm talking about being humble in the midst of storms. See? And sometimes family members want to run out, police come around, they want to say something, and I'm like, be cool, you know, that police got a lot of power. Based on how they feel, can put cuffs on you and take you away and hold you for 72 hours. See? And I go through things like this. And sometimes I'm at home feeling alone. See? And we just got to have relationships in our fellowship. And we got to know who we can go through that got experience in certain areas we might be faced with. See? Again, recovery is about looking at where you're trying to go in life and what you need to do to get there. That's your work. Yeah, we can read the basic text. It'll give us an understanding of the steps. It teaches how to engage in service with the 12 concepts, right? And then how we act among each other with the 12 traditions as a group. But the real work is this evening when you leave here and go back home, life on life's terms.
Talk about that.
Do you have a retirement plan?
Right.
Do you have insurance on the children? Insurance on yourself? Or your car? Are you struggling? Then that's your recovery work. How can I do to make life better? See, if our president is right, he said 2/3 of the jobs in this country requires a college degree. That means at least 1/3 of the job in this country for people that have a high school diploma or less. And there's so many people trying to fit in that little peg till there's an overflow. And so we got a high unemployment rate. And if you're not working, and if you're not receiving federal benefits, you're committing a crime to survive.
That's right.
And a lot of people in that state got a job, but it's not enough. It's a strain. And we get high to change how we feel. It's a setup for a relapse. Because we refuse to do what we need to do to raise the bar. I need to get paid this salary, but I don't have the degree, the skills, or the education to qualify. But 5 years go by, I come in rooms and I talk about it, but I ain't took no actions. 5 years done went by. I don't like this relationship I'm in. I don't like this. I don't like that. 5 years went by, still in the relationship, still complaining, no action. You ain't got to tell me you work steps. I hear it in your comments. I ain't got to tell you I work steps. You hear it in me talking. See? So I'm just saying, I'm going to close with this. That we got a gift from God. See, we're like seeds. And see, when you plant a seed in corrupted, non-nurturing soil, it dies. And I don't know about you, I was planted in some corruption in them streets and was spiritually dying. See, but when you plant a seed in nurturing and cultivated soil, it grows. This fellowship is our seed. Now, there's a few pockets that's not fully developed and nurturing. But I believe the newest newcomer know what's good for them and what's not good for them. See? Because we can come in here, you know, my wife told this story once about this politician, one that died. And he found himself in front of God. And God said, well, you know, you done did a lot of things in the community, did a lot of good things as a politician. But I'm a little confused on your motives. And so God said, well, I'm going to give you a few days in heaven and a few days in hell. And so God sent the politician down to hell. And when he got to hell, he ran into a lot of people he liked being around. They were listening to music that he liked listening to. They were doing all the things he liked to do. So a couple of days later, they took him out of hell and put him in heaven. Now up in heaven, people would listen to harp music. They were serene, spiritual, right? Peaceful. Then they put him back in front of God. And God said, well, you done seen heaven, you done seen hell, what do you think? He said, you know, God, heaven is cool. But I think I want to go to hell. So God said, well, go to hell. But when he got back down in hell, he heard this eerie sound in the air. And people was in a lot of pain. And they were suffering. And he said, hold on, wait a minute. Let me go find Satan, the devil. Man, the other day when I was down here was a little bit different. And Satan said, yeah, the other day we was campaigning. And the day we got your vote. So I'm saying newcomers. You're going to see a lot of campaigning going on in this fellowship. Because see, when we come around here, we be so beaten and so not liking ourselves until we gravitate to other people that don't like themselves. I'm talking about people with clean time that still use profanity, married and cheat outside their marriages, go to the boat, do things contrary to what we stand for to get meetings shut down. And we comfortable in that crowd as newcomers because we feel uncomfortable around people that's working, got degrees, thriving. We feel out of place. I'm saying newcomer, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Break through. You got to break through. See? So I want to say, yeah, time's going to get hard. Like it is right now for me and my family. But the only thing I got is I can look in the mirror and I can say to myself, Benny Lee, you know what hard times are, and this ain't it right now. And with that, I'll keep coming back.